Hello, and welcome to a second grade math game that you can play with your child at home. So what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be focusing on three-digit numbers, and we're going to be comparing them just simply using a deck of cards. And what I've done is I've taken out every single digit that is two digits. So obviously the 10 is no longer there, and Jack, Queen, and Kings. So all I have are ones, which are our aces, and our nines. So single digit numbers. And what we're going to do today is we're going to play this game where students are encouraged to compare numbers. Now, one thing to think about is students in second grade are comparing two three-digit numbers together. And so by using the terms greater than or less than, we're really encouraging students to focus on quantities or values of numbers. But as soon as we start using like the numbers like bigger than or smaller than, we're really talking about size, okay? So I can make a really big 2 and a really small 7, and that has nothing to do with the value of the 2 and the 7, because truly the 7 has a larger value even though it's a smaller size, right, digit right now. So thinking about that is that we really want to use or encourage students to use greater or less than. Okay, let's get going. So in front of me, I have the mat that I used in yesterday's lesson. So I have hundreds, tens, and ones. Of course, you can, by all means, encourage students to build the numbers. And I loved what I saw. I think I saw some toothpicks, I saw Q-tips, I saw paper clips used for tens. So awesome job. I loved it. Creativity at its max. It's so great to see. But I'm going to stick with my straws just because they're cut for me already, and I'm going to stick with my pennies just because I have them in front of me. But of course, you can use anything that you deem appropriate. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to take our deck of cards, and we are going to flip over three numbers. And the three numbers are going to be actually just placed in the order in which you've dealt them. So you're not going to redistribute the cards to make the greater number or anything of that sort. So you're just going to place them down in the order in which you pick them. So I happen to pick the digit 4, that's going to be my hundreds, the digit 3, that's going to be my tens, and the digit 4, that's going to be my ones. Something very important for kids to remember is that these are just digits that hold a value once placed in a place value. So that's why I brought back the place value mat, because I wanted students to see that 4 is the digit in the hundreds, therefore the value of that is 400. 3 is the digit in the tens, but there are 3 tens, which is 30, and there are 4 ones. Okay, so that is my first number that I've flipped over. I'm going to do the same thing with a second value. So like I said, I'm just going to flip them over in the order in which I picked. That's hilarious. 5, 6, and 7. So therefore I have 5 hundreds, I have 6 tens, and 7 ones. From here, students are encouraged to compare these numbers. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to make a number sentence. So I'm going to put them in order. So I flipped over 434 first and 567 second, and I'm going to compare these. Now, if students have to use concrete manipulatives in order to compare these numbers, please feel free to have them explore, build them, use the mat, whatever they need to do. But some students are able to clearly identify which is the larger value. So what they can do is they can use whatever you used for tens to create this comparison symbol. Now, I want to just encourage you guys to understand what this comparison symbol actually stems from. So we all know what an equal sign is. An equal sign means the same as, because if you notice on an equal sign, there's an equal value on this side and this side of these two lines, because they are parallel lines. So therefore, it's an equal space on this side and an equal space on this side, and therefore it's the same. So whatever's on this side of my equation and this side of my equation is the same as, right? That equal sign means the same as. As soon as the value starts increasing on one side or the other, that's when we start getting the comparison symbol of greater than or less than. So I know that we've heard these cutesy little sayings of, alligators eat larger numbers, but I just want to forewarn you, alligators are not in a math lesson. They are for swamps. They do not eat numbers, nor do they care about numbers. So what we really want kids to understand is that the symbol of the greater than or less than symbol really has to do with the space, right, of that symbol. So when thinking about this number, 434, and 567, I know 567 has one more hundred because it has 500s, not 400. So therefore, I know 434 is less than 567. the greater part of my symbol is facing the greater value, right? The smaller part of my symbol is facing the smaller value. So that's really important for kids to understand. And what's also very tricky for kids to understand is that they always want to, when reading a sentence, read it from the greater value to the smaller value. So if given this sentence, we're reading left to right, we're going to read this as 434 is less than 567. All right, so now you can also change it into a game. So once the students have some practice of just comparing numbers and using that language, of course, if they need to build it, by all means, that's why we have manipulatives and that's why we have a progression of learning. What we want kids to know and have fun doing is you can also make this a game. So if I was 434 and you were my partner and you were 567, we could have one round. That is, whoever has the greater value gets to keep the cards, right? So then you would win that round. Or you can also switch it up and talk about whoever had the lesser value or the smaller value, right? The smaller amount, not the smaller, just smaller or bigger, but smaller amount or larger amount. But the smaller value could actually keep the money or keep the money, keep the cards for that round. Okay, so that is what we're going to do today. We're going to have some fun comparing numbers, and always remember we're going to be using strong mathematical terms such as greater than, less than, and we really want to focus in on place value. So I knew that these numbers were easy to compare because of my hundreds were different, because 500 is actually greater than 400. All right, have fun, enjoy, and have a blast.